everyone. Welcome to No Quitting the Home Team, Season 3, Episode 6. Question mark?
Yes.
Yay. I'm going to get this down where I don't have to question my accuracy every time I announce the episode. I'm Renee.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jesse. And to be fair, you could just, ask right before we start recording.
That's what I usually do, though. I'd usually do that. But then I just was wanting to appear more competent today.
Oh. Well, you nailed it. You nailed it. You should have just said it confidently.
I know.
You had it.
I know. All right.
Hey,
Thanks
Nate.
for joining us. Hey, everyone.
How's everyone doing here today?
I feel like I always start. Someone else needs to kick us off.
Because you're who people want to hear from.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Jesse,
how you doing?
how are you?
No. Hey, what's up,
all
guys?
right, Jesse. Yeah, we can change it up.
Yeah.
How you doing? How's life?
Oh, life is...
How's marriage? How's family?
Marriage is excellent. Family is excellent. Yeah, been a week of up and downs. So Monday, we thought our child might have bacterial meningitis, which is terrifying. And it turns out it was not. Thank God.
Yeah.
But just a nice little scare to start our week. And but then yesterday we celebrated our 14th year of marriage. 10 years behind you guys, right?
Congrats, yes.
Yeah. And it was amazing. We went and got cocktails at the Goldfinch and then spent
the
3
Goldfinch?
hours.
What is that? Is that a restaurant?
Do you remember
It's right by-
do you remember where Eurocrepes used to
Yeah.
be? It's Eurocrepes is dead. Long live the Goldfinch.
Is it thematically related to the novel?
Similar. I mean, well, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
It's one of my favorite books. We need to go there.
Yeah.
It's a good cocktail.
Okay.
And then we went to Izakaya Den and spent 3 hours just eating sushi and being happy.
That sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing.
So, and then we have some of our dear friends coming to stay with us for like a week starting on Friday. And so we're just going to let our kids destroy the house and it's going to be amazing. I feel like that's a common theme whenever, how's it going? How's your family? Oh, they're amazing. They're trying to kill us. Like that's, but
Trying to wreck our world.
yeah, they're 4 and almost 9. So that's just what they do. They're
It doesn't change,
little
Jesse. I hate to
tornadoes.
tell you.
Yeah. You're so right.
We're constantly, he just breaks everything. And every day there's just something else and he's in high school. So
To be fair, when we first started coming to Fellowship Denver, Beckett was maybe a year and a half old. And from Dave teaching one day on a Sunday described Beckett as a tiny little tornado. and it's good to know that that's just who he is.
Yep.
And that has persisted through his
Well,
his
at
whole
some point
life.
I realized it's not like it's inadvertent. He likes messing with stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of breaking it. And now he senses the energy that comes from it. And for example,
So this is our most recent example. He will be watching. So we got a king size bed in the spring for the first time in our marriage, and it's fantastic. And part of the reason was that we all couldn't fit. The TV upstairs is in our bedroom, and we all couldn't fit on the bed. So, and I was about to have surgery, and I was like, you know what, it's time. So we got a king size bed, and so we watch shows or games a lot in bed, and he loves to fidget with the remote. And he'll flick the back of it where the batteries are off and on incessantly for hours.
Yeah.
And then he'll fall and we'll lose it. And I'm like, I hate the look of like a remote without a back.
Oh no, I'm with you.
So we'd tell him, we'd be like, stop, Beckett, stop. And we'd try to take it away from him. And it turned into this big thing, this game.
right.
And
Which he loved. It was funny.
right. And
For
kind
him.
of like it'd go over the line where he'd be like, stop. And he wouldn't give it to us. And now he's stronger than both of us. Like we
Wait,
can't.
what?
I think it's close. It's close.
He is strong for his age, for sure. But
You've got the dad strength advantage, but it's
you've got at least 80 pounds on him.
Right.
You can body that dude.
so then the other day he threw it because sometimes if I say, We can't go into that. That's another podcast. He threw it across the room. And of course,
as an act of discipline.
On me.
Yeah.
And of course it broke.
Naturally.
Yes. And so then I was like, okay, so I bought black duct tape. So then it wasn't quite the eyesore. And I duct taped it on. And now every time we're watching a show, he's like
peeling off
the duct tape.
Yeah, you did that to yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, some men just want to watch the world burn. To quote The Dark Knight. Beckett is your Joker.
Hopefully it'll be a redeemed version of that.
No, I don't think I'm not too concerned about it, but he does like to.
He likes to break things for sure. Okay, Dave, how are you? Are you finished, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am good this week. Let me think. How am I doing? It's actually been a good week this week. I felt for the first time in a while like ahead of some things, like work wise, like just kind of ahead of the game, like proactively.
Tell me what that's like.
Like I had some meetings scheduled today, and emails that I sent that were like proactive rather than just getting out of the feeling of just digging out of all the things.
Just responding with the first line being, I'm so sorry. I'm just getting back with you.
Sorry for the delay.
But to feel like past that now, like, no, we're kind of feeling some momentum, feeling offense rather than defense.
That's great.
Yeah, kind of felt some of that this week.
That's great.
And one of those things I did for you, and you don't even know what it is.
I do, because you hinted at it today. You hinted at it this morning.
Well, it's because I want to get.
And you think I don't pick up on it, and I pick up on everything. And I didn't know. I didn't know you did that until you said that this morning.
Well, just know you have something fun coming your way proactively.
Okay, I'll pretend to not know what that is.
How about you, honey? How are you doing?
I'm sure people have seen, it's a video. I don't know. Would you call him a meme? Do you call him a GIF? I don't know. What do you call him? If it's a little kid and he's like a little Southern kid and he's like, and they're like, "What? How you doing, buddy?" And he's like, "I'm tired. I worked hard today and I'm tired and I'm hungry and I don't want to play anymore. Just leave me alone." Do you know what I'm talking about? That little kid?
No, but I'd like for you to say that again.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it.
I'm going to show it to you later. I kind of feel like I've worked hard today and I'm tired and I'm so hungry that you may hear some mornings we just, like this morning, I was up at 5 and I
just don't have time to.
Right, so I didn't get breakfast and I haven't had lunch either. And it's now, 3:30?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm a little tired and hungry and I worked hard today and I don't know if I want to play.
Oh, well.
But I'm playing.
Here we are playing.
Okay. So that's me.
Awesome. All right. What we've learned so far. This is one that I thought.
Just describe the segment again. We need to kind of remind people.
Right. So this segment, we just try to put language around some insight or truth that we've stumbled upon over the course of many years.
Yeah.
Of
kind of hard
marriage.
won.
Yeah.
Hard won wisdom that maybe we wish someone would have told us.
Yes. And today's goes like this. We can't do everything. Like, there's so much expectations put on families, put on couples to do all the things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So raising kids, like, there's all these expectations that you put your kids on in all of the activities, that you put them in all the sports that you.
Did you see that? Did you see the article this week that came out from the Surgeon General?
No.
So the Surgeon General came out with, did you see this, Jesse? With a warning that parenting, I'm not kidding, parenting has reached.
Bad for your health?
Yes. Yes. Google it. It's on every
Who
news
knew?
every news site. The Surgeon General said parenting has reached a level that it affects your health in such a way that there's like a national warning now.
Wait, like, I don't understand what, like, I get that. Why is a Surgeon General, like, what is he offering? Like, what should
Awareness,
people do?
maybe. Awareness. Don't
Like
do it.
buying a pack of cigarettes?
Or no, I think
Like,
to be sure
if you have a child, just.
or to be sure and try to get support. Like I heard him interviewed actually, because I read the article. It's everywhere.
Okay.
And then I heard him interviewed as I was driving to work today. And he was talking about how personally he was so surprised how affected he was, his mental health, his physical health. And so he was just encouraging people to do the things we all know to do. Be in community. Don't do this alone. Be able to, have someone that you can talk with about your frustrations. It's kind of so he was sort of advocating for health, but specifically around the stresses of parenting.
Interesting.
And people don't live by their families anymore.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot of things that are contributing. And the expectation of what you're talking about, there's so many things to be doing a good job. There's so much attached to it.
And the result is that parents just feel guilty all the time. Like,
And stressed.
And like low level anxiety at best, you feel that. So I think, and I don't know when it was for us, but at some point we've made a decision that we're going to be okay with not doing everything that people will expect us to do. And I think maybe partially we saw that when we moved to England, where just seeing a different lifestyle
Yeah.
of family and parenting
Yeah.
that was attractive to us, but it was very like bare bones, very stripped down compared to what certainly we had, what was normative in North America. And that kind of translated to us having one car when we moved here, and
Right.
trying to do life in a way that tried to be a little bit more
Simpler.
simpler and slower paced as much as we could help it. But
It's funny. Not only do parents have that expectation, I feel like kids have that expectation of their experience compared to other kids. Because we laugh about it, but when he went to college, he was like, why didn't you guys put me in a musical instrument more intensely? And we were like, buddy, we tried. Like,
Yeah.
We did the best we could. We tried. But even his expectation, like now he's in college and he's like, I'm not like proficient in a musical instrument.
Yeah, also,
No,
brother, they bought you a bass. I remember. I was there.
He has a selective memory.
why didn't you teach me a second language?
Yes, he's upset about that too.
Yeah, and
Well, it turns out, you would have taken one of the romantic languages anyway, which isn't going to help you learn the Cyrillic alphabet, which is what you actually needed for your second language
Russian.
in college.
Right.
So,
But it's funny how it's in the cultural
culture,
water.
yes.
Yes.
Because the fact that he has, he's not a parent. He has, but he has sort of this expectation of all these things should have been a part of my childhood.
right. And most recently, so I've volunteered with the boys' school for years in various ways. And there's one sort of leadership position that I recently had to resign from. And the reason why is that I can't do that and volunteer coach at the same time.
Yeah.
I did both last year, and it was too much.
Yeah.
And so I had to say, hey, I'm so sorry, but I can't do this. Now, I felt really guilty in doing it, in resigning, but I had to. But kind of going back to this principle, we just have to be okay
Yep.
being limited,
Yep.
embracing our limitations. We're not God. God is God, and we're not. And so we're part of creation. We're limited, and to embrace the limitation in parenting, in family life, I think is really important, and it brings a lot of health knowing that we're not everything's on us to do all the time. So friends out there, you can't do everything.
Yeah. You know, what this makes me think of too is you said this phrase probably years ago, and at first blush, it sounds offensive. And then the longer you sit with it, it's so true. I think we were talking about like the nature of your job or the expectations of your job. And you're like, really all I do is just disappoint people at a rate in which they can handle.
Yeah,
And I feel like this fits within that framework.
it does. Yeah, not like we can't be
It can't be all.
dictated by other people's expectations. Doesn't mean you don't pay attention to them, and they can't be actually really helpful. And there's some probably really important bits of accountability necessary with paying attention to reasonable expectations. And there's obviously a distorted sort of experience of expectations that especially parents and families feel right now. So there's a lot of freedom to go, hey, we can't do it all. And we can figure out with wisdom what's most important. Do that really well, and be okay saying no to everything else.
Yep. You're right.
Next up, article talk. You're introing this, or am I?
Both of us can. I was just going to say this is the first. We actually got recommendations sent to us after last week and we got multiple recommendations for this article.
For this one article.
Yeah. So we were like, absolutely, we'll do it.
So Renee, what's the article? And give us a little summary.
The article is from the Gospel Coalition, right?
Yep.
It's called Think Biblically About Relational Boundaries by Beth Cleese. And I think it had sparked some really interesting conversations in different fellowship groups or different social circles. And listeners reached out and said, we'd love to hear you guys chat about this and just get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So
do you want to give a quick summary, or do you want me to?
Why don't you start and I'll chime in.
Okay. So the writer here summarizes the popular. It's almost like a common sort of everyday wisdom idea of boundaries in relationships, which is based on a Christian book that was written, probably 25 years ago, that I think we've covered before.
We did last year.
On this podcast, by McLeod and
Townsend,
yes.
I think it's Cloud.
Cloud.
Henry Cloud, not McLeod.
McLeod. I added a Mick.
You made him Scottish. I think it's just Cloud and Townsend.
Anywho, but we read the book.
Yeah.
And reviewed it. So now, a lot of things we mentioned on that podcast, I think this writer kind of brings to the surface, which is to apply the principle of boundaries in a relationship requires a ton of wisdom. Mm-hmm. It can be.
I think initially she's wrestling with the tension of how do we square that idea with Jesus' call to lay down your life, and put others above yourself, and I think the cultural zeitgeist is very much bent towards self-protecting at all cost and self-preserving at all costs, and we know dozens of people who've cut all kinds of people out of their life with this justification
for the benefit of their own health.
And so she's wrestling, I think, with the cultural prevalence of that, with what is actually biblical. And I think we all swim in it, right? So we all feel something can feel very right because we swim in it and we rub up against it and it seeps in. And I think she's wrestling with like what is actually biblical, and is this idea of creating boundaries, is it just inherently selfish and self-centered? And is that what Scripture calls us to?
Right.
So I think that's the premise.
And she brings up all of these huge biblical ideas of like picking up your cross and being others oriented and giving up of your own sort of preferences if doing that benefits
Right.
someone else.
Right.
A succinct way she puts it early on is the biblical mandate is to not set boundaries for the sake of protecting yourself, but for the sake of protecting the other person.
Yeah.
Like you set the boundaries for the sake of the other person.
Which that feels very different than what
Yes.
culture
Yeah, absolutely.
promotes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we're very quick to, like, so much of the language that gets used is cutting toxic people out of your life and dropping them.
Yeah.
And those boundaries get so rigid.
Yeah. I thought this quote was good. She said to compare the two, eventually what she's advocating for. She said boundaries can be primarily self-protected and self-orienting or promote relational, spiritual, and personal health in the other person. I thought that was we're kind of getting to the punchline before we kind of talk through her method, but I thought that was really good.
Well, that kind of sets the North Star with it. Like applying this principle of boundaries, which maybe it's worth rehashing a little bit what that even means. Because, boundaries, can be defined a lot of different ways.
Right.
How McLeod, I'll just call him
Don't.
and Townsend, how they defined it is intentionally and with great clarity, withdrawing personal presence in someone's life.
Yeah.
Because they are violating some agreed upon standard of interacting.
Mm-hmm.
And so if someone is, for example, if someone's constantly, you make dinner, it's the example they give, and they constantly come home after dinner, that they promised they would be home before dinner, but the husband comes home after dinner
And still wants
repeatedly,
to eat and still wants you to, yeah.
Yeah. And so boundaries is, hey, dinner's in the fridge.
Yeah.
It's not going to be waited. Like, I'm not going to make you. That's what they mean by boundaries. I think the idea, once it became popularized,
Which even in that scenario, the motivation is like you're not keeping your word.
right?
Right.
It's healthy accountability.
Yeah, right. Or you're not being respectful to your wife. You're taking me for granted. So in her equation, that would be a boundary that promoted health in them and
Right.
promoted betterment in them.
Which the whole point of boundaries is to create enough discomfort that it causes the other person to evaluate and to turn and to repent and to grow and to adapt and all these good things that we all need. That's the whole point. It isn't to create a barrier between me and you, such to where you now have to live up to some expectation that I've created on my own. I may or may not have let you know about it, what that expectation is. And until you meet that expectation that I may or may not have let you know about it, you're out of my life functionally. Or
I think there'll be some just emotional kickback though with even that phrase, because I think there is like a prevailing ethos that if it's your mental health, right? And if someone is, whatever they're doing is infringing upon that, then that's your right to like you see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I definitely. And this article
Kicks back at that.
is kicking back at that, saying
right.
that's not a gospel rubric.
Mm-hmm.
The gospel rubric is we bear with one another in love. We have extended patience with each other for their benefit. And that should be the norm. Now, she mentions in the article
cases,
in
yeah. extreme
cases
Certainly.
of abuse,
Right.
or repeated violations of clearly communicated, areas of hey, we agreed on this. Then that trust is violated over and over and over again. Okay, so there are some occasions where the boundaries principles, I think she says, applies, but in
Or
most,
could be biblical.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
but the default isn't my own mental health the default is like my own, I'm going to relate to you defined by how healthy I feel like you are for me.
Right.
Rather, the default is I am relating to you because I love you, and I'm willing to put up with and to endure immaturity and to be an agent of love and growth for you, for your benefit, for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. And that's what it means to be a servant.
Yeah. I do think that presupposes a high level of maturity
Yes.
in that person.
Yep.
And I guess the caveat is like, what happens when there's not that on either side? Because that really is a high level of spiritual and emotional and relational and personal maturity to be able to do that.
Right. Because it very quickly that can become, someone can enable just bad, sinful behavior
Right.
for a long period of time
Right.
in the name of
Right.
I'm just being patient, I'm just being a servant, and I don't expect you to grow overnight or whatever. And it's like, no, you're just enabling bad behavior, and there's not enough courage to call it out.
This is why I think the stewardship language that's used in the article is so helpful.
Yeah.
Because stewardship implies that it's not just a forbearance, it's also a striving for the good and the growth and the long-term health of that person or of that, whatever. And so there was a moment near the end of this where it says, in difficult relationships, it may be helpful to ask, when I put up boundaries or live completely outside them, whose kingdom am I building?
Yeah, I thought that was good.
That was
Yep.
like, that kind of perfectly surmised it for me. Of at the end of the day, even if it's someone who's maybe not quite mature enough to fully embody this, they can ask themselves, like, that's a pretty simple question to ask yourself. And it's a helpful reframing, I think, of am I being an enabler? Am I simply looking past this thing for the sake of being non-confrontational or whatever? Or am I actually seeking to build the kingdom of God? And if I am, how does that shape this relationship?
Yeah. I just think it's so counterculture. I mean, we were even watching the Olympics. I mean, every single interview you hear, it's like, I've got to listen to myself. I mean, how many times do you hear someone say, I've got to listen to my body, and what my body tells me to do, I'm going to do. And I'm going to always, that's my true north. And I believe in like, it really, I mean, I'm sure people hear this and are like, that's terrible. Or that's blasphemy. You can't, you have to protect yourself first.
Right.
Like, I feel like there are biblical truths that overlap with culture, and this one just feels like it's disparate. We're gonna be pushed in the opposite direction.
Right. And if we aren't properly confronted with biblical truth,
Right.
the default will eventually be this cultural norm.
Right.
Which is why this article is so refreshing.
Yeah. She did say, I was going to, as Jesse mentioned, the lens of stewardship. She mentioned two lenses that she viewed, boundaries and biblical, how to handle relationships biblically. The lens of loving others well, which she said the Bible doesn't encourage us to prioritize our comfort, desires, or protection above caring for others. Boundaries are for the good of other people, not for our comfort. Consistently with the lens of stewardship. And I've heard this, she didn't mention this article or this analogy, but I've heard this before, and I think this is helpful. I'd be curious to hear what you think about this. The idea of sort of a house, and if in your house, you want to be generous and you want to host people, but if you welcome 10,000 people in your house, I mean, nobody's getting fed. There's not enough resources to even care for the people that live in the house. So how would you apply that to this idea of boundaries as far as because you can't, I do see the reality. You can't just give and give and give and give to where you're so depleted, whether it's emotionally, financially, spiritually, that you have nothing left to be healthy? Like, talk to that.
Well, I think the Lord's Prayer is like a real, I mean, newsflash.
It's good.
Newsflash. It's a really helpful, like, rubric of our orientation towards God and others and ourselves. Mm-hmm. All of those fit, but there is an order to it. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. So our
Allegiance,
our worship, like who it is we're oriented towards ultimately is God.
Lordship, right? That's the idea of lordship.
Yeah. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So whose will ultimately are we concerned about? Is it my will? Is it your will? No, it's God's will. Like even just doing that by itself may help to straighten out next steps for relational friction. And then give us this day our daily bread. So it's not like our own concerns and our own needs and what we need, even relationally, isn't any concern. No, it is. Give us this day our daily bread. God knows very well that we have needs relationally and physically. Everyone needs to be heard and understood, and like that's Christian community. Like we all need that, and then forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Things are imperfect, and so we need to seek forgiveness and we need to grant forgiveness. God is not surprised that we live with people who hurt us and violate our trust, and where there's going to be opportunities and impulses to want them out of our life. In the same way that people will feel that about us when we've hurt them. So in the Lord's Prayer, there is this daily reminder of keeping short accounts with other people. I don't need to go through the rest of the Lord's Supper or the Lord's Supper, the Lord's Lord's Prayer, but personal need is a part of it, and ignoring it isn't biblical. But our orientation is for, okay, it's God's kingdom. And by the way, that's where joy comes from. People are always wanting joy and happiness. It's the great deception is thinking if you get everything you want, you're going to get happy. That's not how it works. Joy and happiness comes from giving yourself over to God's will and His kingdom and something bigger than yourself. Anyway.
Also, we could talk about. She does give like some suggestions,
which I thought were really helpful.
Yeah. So, do you want me to go through this real quick?
Yeah, go through those.
Without elaborating on each one, pray for wisdom. Consider what response is most loving to the other person. We've kind of talked about that already. Consider what the Bible clearly says about relationships. Consider your limitations. Remember, personal discomfort isn't a good reason to avoid an action that honors God and loves others well. Oof.
Gotta preach. That's
And then
wait.
And see
is
God.
she saying that God is okay putting us in a situation where we're going to be uncomfortable?
She is.
All right.
And then seek godly counsel. So comments or thoughts on those?
I do think there is there is a widely held belief within Christian world that God wants us to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And that he would never put us in a situation that would make us
feels friction.
Suffer.
Yep.
And that is totally inconsistent with what we read about in the Bible. I mean, Jesus, the definition of discipleship is picking up a cross and following him. Dietrich Bonhoeffer famously said that Jesus calls us to come and die. Like a part of our allegiance to Jesus is denial of self and giving up of oneself and giving ourself wholly over to God and his will. Full stop. And now on the back end of that, there is great joy, and Jesus talks about that as well. But the thought that he would never call me into this season of radical obedience, or that may be uncomfortable or cause suffering, is just inconsistent with what Jesus actually taught about.
I love the pray for wisdom. I feel like, I mean, even if you guys are a part of fellowship, we're in Proverbs for a good part of this year. And I think on my part, there's just been a heightened remembering that so much of life isn't, this is clear. It's wisdom principles. And I loved that, because it does feel like there's two extremes to where it can be like, I just have to give and give and give and give and give until I can't stand up. And that's biblical. Or more culturally, like, no, I'm going to protect myself. These are my limitations. And maybe having an ungenerous offering of your limitations. And I think it's probably somewhere in between in most situations. And what God's wisdom in each specific situation is something that needs to be discerned individually, not us saying it should be this or this, right? That it should be the discernment of the Spirit in your own life.
Right.
Considering these things, if these things are true, if this is what the Bible says in this, that I feel like it is situational.
Yeah, it's the application of God's truth in the gray.
Yeah, yep. And this issue feels gray. Like most of these situations probably are gray.
Right. Because there's so many different variables
right.
at play with every individual relationship, that each variable has to be considered and listened to. And then to be weighed in light of everything that we know, the truth and the facts. What does wisdom have to say in terms of the next step?
And I think
I love these principles here, because it's like, here's the lens.
Yep.
Is it good for the other person?
Yep. And I think we can't undervalue godly counsel outside of ourselves, and that goes against too the listening to what your heart says or listening to what your body says. Like, I do think other people, sometimes trusted people, can have a perspective that's just really helpful.
And becoming wise is learning to distrust the impulse to discredit all of those voices that go against what you really want. And go, okay, maybe there's something to this. Even though I really don't like it, or there's something about it I feel like is unfair or whatever. It's like, no, maybe there's something in it that I really need to hear. And growth for me is actually to lean into the very thing that right now I feel allergic to.
Right. And this is blasphemous, but distrusting your inclinations in a healthy way.
Did you say distrusting?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is Proverbs 3. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him.
Yeah.
And right. So much of this is like trusting that the indwelling Holy Spirit is going to be doing this work, and like the helper will help you in these scenarios, right?
Yep.
So we can't be afraid to ask God.
Such a good word.
In the midst of all of this.
Yep.
Because we get so hung up on this self-preservation, and we think me and I. And at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to go, God, this is like, this person's trying to kill me. I love them and they're trying to kill me. Help me. And you will.
All right, guys. Article talk.
Yeah, it was good.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah.
So be sure and read Think Biblically About Relational Boundaries. And
we didn't talk about it specifically in marriage. We kind of talked about it almost outside of marriage, or the connotation was more like friendships and whatever.
Right. Which we help each other in our marriage navigate all of our other relationships.
Yeah.
So obviously, we'd never have to enact boundaries within marriage, would we?
Surely not.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that some other time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. We are shifting to our everyone's favorite section, spouse advice, where we acknowledge that sometimes we just need to hear a little advice from someone other than our spouse. So Dave is going to give all the women and wives out there some spouse advice.
All right,
this week.
Here's my advice for all of the wives out there. And this is inspired by something Renee has done really well for me. And
So you're saying this isn't a passive aggressive
this isn't passive
suggestion.
aggressive. There's always next week. Okay. But
Oh no.
no. So last night I went to book club, and I've been a part of the same book club. We call it Book Club for Men. Last night we celebrated our 10-year anniversary for book club. And these are dudes in my neighborhood. Some we've kind of
You've bolted on some people.
we've bolted on some people
some
over the
FTC
years.
people.
Yes. But here's the spouse advice, and it goes something like this. Wives, do what you can to help foster your husband in making and sustaining male friendships. Mm-hmm. When we've had book club night, it's never convenient.
Right.
There's always something going on. There's always some fire in the basement that could be dealt with. Mm-hmm. And yet you've been really supportive, not just me being a part of the book club, but creating space to read the book, and occasionally us talking about it, but making me know that having these relationships is actually important, and you help that and foster that. So many guys out there become very relationally isolated and starved. And then they actually rely, I think, in an unhealthy way, solely on their spouse for all of their relational needs. It's way unfair to put that much weight on their spouse. So just having male relationships is so important. So same thing with my basketball endeavors in the morning. Like I have a whole network of probably now 30, 40 guys who are like my guys. And we've played basketball together now for years and years and years. But that's not happening if you're not on board with it.
Right.
And yet the fruit of having those male relationships in my life is undeniable in so many different ways. So that's my advice. Just to.
So what if somebody's saying, "How do I start? How do I do that? Like, how do I? If I haven't done that, how do I begin?"
Well, maybe like thinking through. Okay, is there something that your husband he used to do this, or he had this hobby or this thing that he liked, but he hasn't done it for a long time, and we've had kids, and we've just been in survival mode for X amount of years, which we've been there and done. Like we know what that feels like. And if that's you out there, then I think maybe bringing those things up. Hey, would you be interested in doing that thing again? And what about, and then be really practical. Like what other guys in your neighborhood or that already exist within your network might be interested in starting that book club or playing hockey or whatever it is that you used to do.
Going on a mountain biking.
Yeah. And so don't make it overly idealized. It's utilizing people who are already in your network. And then just putting a little bit of effort towards starting something and then stick with it and see what happens. So, when we were celebrating last night, we actually went back and looked at our email exchange
When it got started?
Yeah. And it was
That's fun.
just me and 2 other guys. And literally it was like, let's just,
No, it was because you're like, our wives have a book club. Why don't we have a book club?
well, that's when it became a book club. It didn't start book club.
Oh, okay.
It started as beer club.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We would meet at a pub. We'd drink a beer. But then after a while, we realized that we kind of ran out of content. There's only so much you can talk about just whatever's going on. We needed like some content. And then inspired by our wives, we transitioned to a little bit something more highbrow in book club, but in our own way. But anyway, you've done that really well in my life,
so.
and just want to encourage wives out there to see maybe there's probably some steps they could take to help their husband in that world.
Very good. Good spouse advice.
Next up, it's our favorite segment.
Wait. Spouse advice was our favorite
I
segment.
thought this was our favorite.
They're all our favorite segments.
Except the second one. I still don't. It feels clunky to me, but that's.
I know. Why do you not like that one?
It just
People
feels
love
clunky.
that one.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to hear that.
Renee, they're here for your pearls of marriage wisdom.
Okay.
Okay, today we're going to talk about hot and cold. What are we hot on? What are we cold on right now? Renee, you're up.
It's me. I'm going to be cold on something.
Ooh.
And I can't mention a lot of specifics because I don't want to get people in trouble. But I'm very cold on onerous bureaucratic systems that don't take into account people. And we've had a couple of situations in different bureaucratic systems that it's just ridiculous that the lack of like actual consideration of human beings to hold the bureaucracy in place. And I'm just out on it. I think
sacrificing human well-being
Yes.
in order to remain sort of slavishly obedient to the bureaucracy.
to the system or to the structure. And I think systems and structures are important, but there always has to be exceptions or room for exceptions because no system is going to encompass all of the potential variables that may happen. And so when you're in a system and it's like, sorry, we can't do that. And it's like, yes, you sure can. You can do that. And when there's just a commitment and a rigid doggedness to the structure, I'm just out on it. I'm out.
Can I give you an example of this yesterday?
Let's go.
Beckett and I, we met for, it was the first ever, long story here, but we call it our sort of version of the Inklings.
We talked about it last week.
Oh, we did.
we
Okay,
did.
yeah. So, but yesterday was just me and Beckett, and so I order. We're gonna order just a little some food. I asked him, "Do you think we can do fries and tots together, like a mixture?" He's like, "No, we can't." Beckett. Beckett says, "You know what? I bet they could."
I think you guys are smart people. You could figure this out.
He's like, "I bet you they could." And yet, in this, I'm not blaming, that poor waiter, but in his mind, it's like, no, we offer either fries or tater tots.
Well, and he's thinking through, like, how do I plug it in the...
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we do not have that button.
I don't see an option
in the
to click
system
that. Yeah.
here. But that's like an example. It's like, but I'm a human.
Right.
And it would be fun to have some of both
Right.
for me and my son.
Right. And that's like a preference and kind of like silly.
It's silly.
But not so silly is like we'd mentioned that I had surgery in the spring and it literally should have happened 2 years ago. But there were
Protocols.
Yes, that you had to, despite both of us, like
Protocols had nothing to do with your case.
that it was like, we have to do this first and this first and then this and then this. And it has to be, and we were like, man, this is like terrible. Isn't there any way? And what ended up happening 2 years later, we were asking for 2 years ago and $150,000 ago, right?
Yeah.
But it was like that just shouldn't happen. You don't have to. I understand there's protocols in place. Protocols are good as a guide, but we shouldn't have had to do that for 2 years to get to where we were from the beginning. We were like, hey, let's just consider this.
Yeah.
And so I'm so out. I'm so out on it.
My wife is having that same surgery in 2 weeks, and we had you guys in the back of our mind when we were having those conversations.
Yeah. I wish I would have been
And-
just like, because we just listen to them because that's
Sure.
what we do, right? We're like,
None of us have MD.
I'm
like,
right. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, this is what we need to do. And I'm like, okay, well, but could we consider this? Nope, this is what we need to do. And I wish I would have been like, no, we don't need to do that. We need to do this. But so I'm glad you're not having to spend the 2 years.
Thankful.
You're cold.
I'm cold on bureaucracy.
I'm feeling cold. Feeling that shiver.
Renee's about to become ungovernable.
All right, that's it.
That was a joke.
Right. Hey, next week, the article. Just a little preview, a little taste. For
Read
next
with
week.
us. Read with
Read
us.
with us. It's an article on Inc.
Wait, what's Inc?
Inc.com.
Okay.
Inc. magazine.
Is that like a business magazine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Again.
Or is it ink.com and it's a tattoo magazine?
Very different.
INC.
It's actually just fountain
Period.
pens.
I think it's some kind of businessy something.
Okay.
The title of the article is "The Secret to Discipline No One Ever Talks About." It's by David Finkel, and what he talks about is actually something I think is really important in fostering a good marriage.
I was going to say, relate it to relationships.
Right, but I don't want to give away too much of it.
Right,
so I
right.
want people to read the article, and then next week we'll talk about why what he talks about is really important for marriage.
Okay. Say
That's
it again. David Finkel.
David Finkel, "The Secret to Discipline No One Ever Talks About."
All right. See
Okay.
you next time.
Bye, guys.
Oh wait, we didn't do the. If you have any comments, questions, or additional article recommendations,
Send them our way.
Yep.
where
Dave,
do they send them?
Dave at Fellowship.
Jesse
Denver.
at fellowshipdenver.org.
Renee at fellowshipdenver.org.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.